You are alone in the house. The lights are off in the next room, and somewhere in the back of your skull, a quiet voice says someone is watching you. There is no one there. You know there is no one there. You check anyway. This feeling has a name, and it is older than language itself. Researchers call it the sense of being stared at, and what makes it strange is not that it happens. What makes it strange is how often it is wrong, and how little that seems to matter to your brain. Why would a system built by millions of years of evolution be so comfortable being wrong this often? The answer starts with a part of your brain you have probably never thought about directly. It is called the superior temporal sulcus, and its entire job for your whole life has been to detect one thing: eyes, specifically eyes that are looking at you. Neuroscientist Colin Clifford, who has spent years studying gaze perception, found that humans are extraordinarily good at detecting when they are being looked at, even from a distance, even in dim light, even from the corner of the eye. This is not a minor skill. It is one of the fastest and most sensitive detection systems in the entire human brain, faster than recognizing a face, faster than recognizing a word, faster in some cases than recognizing danger itself. Here is why that matters. For most of human history, the thing most likely to kill you was not a falling rock or a flash flood. It was another set of eyes, a predator, a rival, someone with intentions you could not yet read but absolutely needed to detect before it was too late. Evolutionary psychologists call this gaze detection a survival circuit, and like every survival circuit your ancestors depended on, it was built with a specific kind of bias, not accuracy, speed. A system that is slow and accurate will eventually get you killed. A system that is fast and occasionally wrong will not. Evolution does not reward correctness. It rewards staying alive long enough to reproduce, and those are not always the same thing. So your brain made a trade. It decided that missing a real threat was far more dangerous than imagining a fake one, and that single decision, repeated across millions of years, built a detection system that is tuned to err on the side of paranoia. This is sometimes called the smoke detector principle, a term popularized by psychologist Randolph Nesse. A smoke detector that goes off too often, even when you are just making toast, is annoying. A smoke detector that fails to go off during an actual fire kills you. Given that choice, evolution will always build the annoying smoke detector, every time. Your gaze detection system is that smoke detector. It would rather make you turn around 50 times for nothing than miss the one time something was actually behind you. This explains something curious about how the feeling of being watched behaves. Researchers studying this effect have found it intensifies in situations that resemble ancestral danger: darkness, isolation, unfamiliar terrain. Being alone in a house at night activates almost the exact same conditions your ancestors faced when predators were most active and visibility was lowest. Your modern brain does not know the difference between a dark hallway in your apartment and a dark tree line on the savannah. To the oldest parts of your nervous system, they are functionally the same kind of dark. There is a deeper layer to this too, something psychologists call hypervigilance to social threat. Humans did not just need to detect predators, we needed to detect other humans who meant us harm, and human intentions are far harder to read than a predator's. A lion's interest in you is fairly easy to interpret. A rival group member's interest in you might be curiosity, might be friendliness, or might be the first sign of a coming conflict. Getting this wrong in either direction carried a cost, but getting it wrong in the direction of trust carried a far higher one, so the brain leaned toward suspicion. Not because suspicion feels good, but because in an ancestral environment, suspicion kept you alive long enough to find out which interpretation was correct. Psychologist Steven Newberg has researched what he calls the smoke detector principle, applied specifically to social threat detection, finding that humans show a consistent bias toward overperceiving hostile intent from strangers, particularly in ambiguous situations. This bias is not a flaw in your reasoning. It is a feature your ancestors needed. Here is where it gets stranger still. Some researchers have proposed that this gaze detection bias may even extend to non-human stimuli. Studies on what is sometimes called the watching eyes effect have found that simply displaying an image of eyes, even a cartoon pair, even on a poster, measurably changes human behavior. People litter less, people cheat less on unsupervised tasks, people donate more to honesty boxes. A 2006 study by researchers at Newcastle University found that putting up posters with eyes on them in a university cafeteria more than doubled the amount of money left in an honesty box for unpaid drinks compared to posters with flowers. Nobody believes a poster is actually watching them, and yet something in the oldest part of the brain responds as though it might be. This is the same circuitry, firing at the wrong target, and not particularly caring that the target is wrong. Which brings us back to that empty room. When you feel watched in a dark hallway with nobody in it, your gaze detection system has not malfunctioned. It is doing exactly the job it was built to do. It is scanning low light, ambiguous shapes, and unfamiliar shadows for the specific pattern of two eyes oriented toward you, and it is doing this faster than your conscious mind can intervene. Sometimes it finds a pattern that looks close enough, a knot in the wood grain, a reflection in a window, a shadow shaped vaguely like a face. The system fires, your skin prickles, and your rational mind catches up a half second later to tell you that nothing is there. But by then, the warning has already done its job. Your body is alert, your heart rate has ticked up, you have already turned around. This explains why these feelings are almost always strongest in environments your ancestors would have recognized as dangerous, and almost never in environments that feel modern and safe. You rarely feel watched standing in a bright, crowded grocery store. You very often feel watched walking down a dark, unfamiliar street, or descending into a quiet basement, or lying awake in a silent house at 2 in the morning. The feeling is not random. It is precisely calibrated to the conditions your ancestors needed to fear most. There is something almost reassuring in this once you understand it. The unsettling prickle on the back of your neck is not a sign that something is wrong with you, or even necessarily a sign that something is wrong with the room. It is a sign that one of the oldest, fastest, most finely tuned alarm systems in the human brain is still running exactly as designed, scanning the dark for eyes that probably are not there, because for most of human history, the cost of assuming they were not was simply too high. So the next time you are alone, and the room feels like it is watching you, you do not have to be afraid of the feeling itself. You can recognize it for what it is. Not a haunting, not a premonition, just an ancient circuit inherited from ancestors who could not afford to get this wrong, doing the only thing it has ever known how to do. Watching so that you do not have to be the one who gets caught not watching.